Hey there, welcome to day 4 of the 2023 Advent of Code. Let's take a look at today's problem. So we have a bunch of scratch cards, and each one already is scratched. Looking at each card, we have two lists of numbers, a list of winning numbers and a list of numbers that we have. So we organize the info into a table, which is our puzzle input. The numbers on the left are the list of winning numbers, and the numbers on the right are the list of numbers we have. And for each match, the first one makes the card worth 1 point, and each subsequent match doubles the point value. So essentially, if there are no matches, it's worth 0, otherwise it's worth 2 to the power of the number of winning numbers minus 1. So the first example, we have 41, 48, 83, 86, and 17, which gives us 83, 86, 48, and 17 as our matching numbers. So we have 4 matches, and so it's first worth 1 point for the first match, and then it doubles 3 times, so it's worth 8 points in total. Given this, what is the sum of the values of each card? So we're going to need to keep a running total, and then for each line in the input, we can first get rid of this part, it's not important. So we can do x is x dot split on colon, and get the second part, and then strip out the white space. Now we want to separate it by the pipes. So we can do AB equals x dot split by pipe. And now we will have 2 lists of space separated integers. And so we can just do A equals map int of A dot split. And we're going to need to do the same thing for B, and we need to turn this into a list as well. We need to do this for B as well. So what we can actually do is we can just apply this to each element in x.split. And this just shortens things down a bit and makes it a bit easier to write and change anything if you need to. Now if we print out A and B, we see that we just get 2 lists of integers. And so in Python, integers and booleans are essentially the same. Booleans can be converted to integers directly, and they're treated as 1 and 0. So for example, if we print true plus true, we'll just get 2. So what that means we can do is we want to get the number of elements in B that are in A. So what we can do is we can loop through B, check if it's in A, and then add up 1 if it is and 0 if it isn't. And because true is 1 and false is 0, we can just do J is the sum of whether or not Q is in A for Q in B, where Q is just the query. So let me explain this a bit. Q and B in this generator comprehension syntax loops through each value of B and returns this value, which is whether or not Q is in A. So the use of in here might be slightly confusing at first, but this one loops through B and this one checks for membership in A. If it's a member, we get true or 1. If it's not a member, we get 0 and false equivalently. And so this will give us the number of winning numbers. Now all we have to do is, if j is greater than 0, t plus equals 2 to the power of j minus 1. And finally, we can print out t to get our answer. Moving on to part 2. Instead of there being a concept of points, each time we win a scratch card, we get more scratch cards as our reward. So let's walk through this. If we win a copy of card 10 that has 5 matching numbers, we win 1 each of the next 5 cards. And so looking at our test case still, card 1 has 4 matching numbers, so we win 1 copy each of card 2, 3, 4, and 5. The original card 2 has 2 matches, so we win a copy of 3 and 4. And then we also have the extra copy of card 2 that we won from part 1, so we win another copy of 3 and 4. So now in total we have 4 instances of card 3. We have the original, we have the one we won from card 1, we have the one we won from the original card 2, and we have the one that we won from the copy of card 2 that we won from card 1. And so at the end we need to know the total number of scratch cards. So for this one we're just going to stop tracking the total, and we're going to instead keep a map of the number of scratch cards of each type we have, and at the end we can print the sum of the values, like that. So M will be a map from each scratch card number to the number of copies that we have. So we can do for index x in enumerate the input lines. And now at the top, if we have no copies of this card, which is always the case for card number 1, we can do if I not in m I equals 1. So we always have the one base card, the one original. And so now what we do is, instead of keeping track of a total, we'll increase the number of the subsequent card we have. So j is the number of matching numbers, so we want to loop through the next j cards. So for next in range from I plus 1 up to I plus j plus 1. So for example, if I is 5 and j is 2, then this will give us 6 and 7. Then we want to take m of n, and since n might not be in the map, we need to use .get with a default value, which starts at 1. And then we need to add on some value. We're not going to add 1. Rather, what we're going to do is we're going to add the number of times we have this card. So because the cards don't change, like 10 copies of Scratch Card 3 will just be the same thing 10 times over, we don't want to scratch it 10 times. We don't want to run the loop on it 10 times. Instead, we can just multiply by the number of instances we have, which is mi. And so that gives us the solution for part 2. So yeah, overall, a fairly interesting problem. The second one took me a bit of time to wrap my head around. I could have gotten a much higher score if I had realized a bit more quickly how I was supposed to be approaching this, but hopefully seeing my solution can help you a bit. In any case, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.